When you're troubled, grace is still looking for you. When you don't know what to do, there is the grace of God still looking for you to make things right, to help you, to always bring you back where you belong, to always give you what you lost. May the grace of God find you wherever you are. This man, Mephibosheth, he was in Lo-debar, a place of sorrow, a place of hopelessness, a dry place, a place of no posture, a place that was forgotten. And yet, King David comes to say, is there anybody left in the house of Saul whom I can show kindness to, whom I can show mercy to? That's what grace does. Grace seeks the undeserving. Then, the grace of God reverses expectations. Where you are expecting to be ashamed, God shall show you his mercy and then favor. Where you expect to be disappointed, the grace of God shall always appoint you. You see, the grace of God always reverses expectations. When Esther went before the king, she thought, when I go there, maybe I'll die. That's what she was expecting. But grace reverses expectations. She was expecting death, but again she found favor. Grace restores what was lost. It doesn't matter how many years you spend in rebellion, being rebellious against God, doing and then following the things of the world. There's the grace of God that can restore even your years. When it found one man who was called Saul, of course he was a murderer and then persecutor of the church. But again, when the grace came, he became also the same minister within the same church that he had been persecuting. That's what the grace of God can do. It restores your purpose. That his purpose was to serve God and then build the church instead of demolishing and then killing, persecuting the church. David, in this story of Mephibosheth, he does represent a king who shows grace. And David comes in as the typology of Christ who shows us grace. We see David seeking Mephibosheth who was lost, and he showed him undeserved kindness. That's what also God does. He seeks us who are lost, that when we are lost, Christ died for us, and he has shown us undeserved kindness and then grace, and he has restored us back to our true inheritance in God. And then also he has bridged and restored our broken fellowship with God. So now we see that within this same story, we see Christ restoring us. And then also we see Mephibosheth here representing the fallen humanity. Also we get to see that Mephibosheth represents the fallen humanity. That Mephibosheth symbolizes humanity because of helplessness. Also he was crippled. Also he was in Lo-debar. He was in sin. He was forgotten. Unable even to come to the king by himself, to come to King David. Also we were unable, or even to those that are the unbelievers, they are unable to go to the throne of grace. And also now this one spiritually, humanity is crippled by sin and unable to save itself. Also you cannot be able to save yourself without Christ himself. And again also we talk about the fall that crippled Mephibosheth. And this one now, it made him to be so much lame. And this one is a symbolic picture of humanity's fall into sin. But however much even we fell in sin, the grace has been always sufficient. That there's no place that God cannot reach. There's no sin that God cannot take away. And again also, Lo-debar represents a spiritual barrenness. This man lived in Meshibothet. No, he lived in Lo-debar, a place where there's no provision, where there's no pasture, where there's no word of hope. And this one symbolizes a life without God's presence. And it's the grace of God that brings people out of this place of lacking the presence of God. And that is now the place called Lo-debar. You see? So I pray that may the grace of God continue to be sufficient